Let's try to imagine how we would put up their 11.
Yeah.
What does their best 11 look like
Yeah.
right now? Obviously, Ter Stegen in goal,
Yeah.
right? No argument there. I'm assuming you go Piqué and Araujo as your central defenders.
Yeah.
Your right back is going to be Dani Alves. I would imagine Serginho Dest should get a fair amount of playing time.
I would think so. Because defensively, Dani Alves is
You
Dani
have
Alves
issues.
at
Yeah.
60 years of age. So, but I know what he would bring with the ball and in terms of leadership and etc. This is not a problem, but we've seen already that defensively, most of the games he's played at, he struggled.
We have Piqué and Araujo ahead of Eric Garcia, yeah?
I think
Both
so,
of
yeah.
them.
Unless you want to play Araujo at right back and Jordi Alba left back and then find someone else with Piqué in the centre, Longley, Eric Garcia, whoever you want. But I think Araujo and Piqué are the
Right.
best partnership at centre back.
You got Jordi Alba on the other flank,
Left, yeah.
who I think the last 18 months actually has been really good.
Yeah, he's been good. Yeah.
Back to the level he was at when he first came over. Midfield, it seems to me you've got essentially 5 options for 3 places.
Yeah.
Busquets, De Jong, Nico, Pedri, and Gavi.
Yeah.
That's a good. It's a good group. It's a good place to be in.
Really, really good.
If we
Different
think-
profiles.
Different profiles, you can do things differently. What I wonder about though is if it's a big game, a big European game, or actually a big Europa League game in this
Yeah.
case, but a key game. What choices does Xavi make? What choices do we think Xavi
The
will
biggest call is the Busquets situation because against Napoli in the Europa League, he can't run anymore. We know that, and Barca won't control the game against a team like this, like they would, and where he would be very useful. And I think the big call is: do you drop him or you keep him? I think at times this season he's kept him, and that was counterproductive for the team. I would love it the young Pedri Gavi midfield. I have to be honest, and there's a lot of work to do with them on movements and positioning and
Lightweight,
etc.
no?
And maybe a bit lightweight. But again, if you have a lot of running to do or a lot of position to have, or it's a very intelligent midfield, I think it could work. But knowing Xavi, I don't think he will drop Busquets. So it'll be Busquets plus 2.
Yeah, I think it's Busquets, De Jong, and Pedri.
So you would move Gavi to the front 3.
Moving the front 3 or leave him out. We're talking situations where everybody's fit 100%,
yeah.
and what would he have in his eyes? Obviously, you have alternatives. I think De Jong though is the interesting one here because I think we've seen him play a little better in the last few games, but we've not seen good De Jong. We've talked about how he's good De Jong, the other one's bad De Jong. But he hasn't. But he's a huge financial investment for the club. He's still young enough. He's shown in the past, even at Barcelona, I think,
last season,
when he first arrived, that he can get back there. The front 3. Okay, Ansu Fati would be an automatic choice if he were fit.
Yeah.
We're not going to see him for another 3 months.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's only another 3 months.
Yeah.
How does the rest shake out? Because Ferran Torres on the other flank, I think, makes sense.
Not in the centre for you. You would not play him centrally.
Well, I'm trying to think like Xavi, right?
Yeah.
If I was going to play him centrally, I would have played him centrally in the last couple of games instead of Jutgla and Luc de Jong and these guys.
Yeah, true.
And I wouldn't bother with Aubameyang. I hope he's not
of
thinking,
course.
let me put Alba back on the wing where he played years ago, because we've seen
chance.
Alba on the wing is not an option at this stage of his career,
It's not
right?
enough for Barcelona. No.
So, and I think Ferran Torres, I wrote a whole column about this, is kind of like a defensive signing I shouldn't say defensive signing. Is kind of like an insurance signing. That's one of the fringe benefits of his signing, because in terms of Dembele, right? Because it allows you to say we have Dembele's replacement potential, if that's how we see him as a right wing, and that's where he played mostly for Spain.
Yeah.
So, assuming Dembele doesn't extend and assuming he doesn't want to play him, which at this stage I think he'd be justified in not playing him much.
Although he's on the list of the Europa League, which is clearly an indication that the intention is to play him. Otherwise, why would you put him in that list?
Yeah. So, look, for me, the best front 3, if everybody was fit and productive, I would go Dembele, Ferran Torres, and Depay. And I would just figure it out. Leaving aside Ansu.
Fati. Okay.
But I don't think that's going to happen. So, and I think if you're going to move on in 6 months as well, there's no real reason to play Dembele.
Yeah.
He's not that much of a difference maker that you say, oh, well, I'll get as much as I can from him. Unless you think you can change his mind, and that's highly unlikely, I think, at this stage. Because, look, Dembele can count like anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Dembele knows that Ferran Torres, at least in Spain, is seen as a winger because that's the position he's played for Spain where he's done well. I know he's played up front for City, and I think, and Pep thinks, that could be his future, but for now, he's a winger, right?
Yeah.
If you're Dembele, you just signed this guy who's younger than me, paid a lot of money for him. Why want to come back?
I know, but you keep hearing Xavi and Laporta saying, you're the best in the world in your position, you're better than Mbappe. Even Laporta, again, on Monday or Tuesday was like, if when he's at his best, he's better than Mbappe for me. Like, okay, so you Dembele, they've just signed one of your best friends, who everybody knows you had such a great partnership together at Dortmund, where you created a lot of goals for him. He scored a lot of goals of your crosses, blah, 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 all of that. So if you're Dembele, you think, okay, they're going to utilize the partnership that we have, the relationship that me and Aubameyang have together, right? You would think, why would you pass on that?
I think the reason you would say that is you've made, at least as I would see it, if this were a grown-up club, and sometimes I wonder if it is, you've signed Xavi, you've sold people on the fact we inherited a disaster and a tire fire.
Yeah.
We're building long-term.
Yeah.
So Aubameyang will not be part of your long-term. Dembele probably won't be. Maybe. You don't know that. The guy who will be around is Ferran Torres.
Yeah.
So you build around him.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And Adama Traore, where does he fit?
I don't know. Does he even fit? With his style of play, I mean, I think what they need at times, especially when you play against a really low block, is someone who get the ball and said, I don't care about all your passing drills, patterns of plays, all of that. Give me the ball, and I'm just going to go, and then just try to go around people and then create something out of nothing, which is maybe what Xavi saw in Adama and said, we need that kind of player. It's a bit like Dembele in a way, a lot of pace and a lot of skills and
except Dembele then crosses the ball.
Yeah,
Adama.
And so maybe Adama is your super sub. Bring him on when it's 0-0 or 1-1, when there's not much space, you're not creating much.
Opposing defenders are tired.
Yeah, and you're free to do whatever you want. Go and do and try your best. And that's the only way I see Adama fitting in that team. I don't see him as a starter. I don't see him being converted to some sort of right wing back or anything like that. I just think he will use him as an impact sub and saying, you know what, you've got 25 minutes. Go, and with your pace and your physicality and all the skills and everything, the tricks, you might make something happen out of nothing.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.